While a major component of early American history, the story of the removal of the 5 so-called civilized tribes of the Southeast is not well understood. And until recently, relatively little archaeological work has been done on sites along the route westward known as the Trail of Tears. But now, researchers are beginning to come to grips with what remains of these ephemeral places. Working at sites from the Cherokee homelands across the Mississippi to Indian country in what is now Oklahoma, archaeologists, historians, native leaders, and community activists are working together to preserve and interpret that story along the northern route. Listed on the National Register of Historic Places, the Snelson Brinker Farm was a stopping point for at least one detachment of about 1,000 starving, exhausted Cherokee on the Trail of Tears.
As it stands, this is what is left of the Snelson Brinker house. There was a fire July 4th, and they were doing an investigation because all indications point to arson.
In the aftermath of the fire, can the activists rescue history from the arsonists' flames? The farm and sites along the trail offer a wealth of information for researchers hoping to understand the process of genocide and ethnic cleansing in 19th century America.
As Kituwas and as Cherokees, this was where we had started from. This is where everything known to be Cherokee, the way in which we interpreted the world, all began here.
At sites across rural America, the family stories of Native, European, and African Americans collided in the early 19th century to create a cultural landscape that holds the history of America. In November of 2017, volunteers began clearing the farmhouse site in advance of the first stages of archaeological investigation. Erin Whitson is the lead investigator on the project. She grew up a few miles from the farm.
As it stands, this is what is left of the Snelson Brinker house. July 4th, 2017, the house burned after standing for so long, and now we're interested in doing archaeological investigations to try to figure out more about that early period of time. We know that they came and they probably had slaves with them when they got here. Don't exactly know how many at this moment in time. Hopefully in the future we'll find out a little bit more about them as part of the archaeological examination of the site. What we know for sure is that this was a working farmstead at one point, which means that there are probably more features here that we don't see. All that you see on the surface now that was original was a house, but as a farm they would have had barns, they probably would have had a stable, they would have had chickens, pigs for certain. So all of these things require other structures, and with slaves, they also would have needed a place to live themselves.
A classic example of the negative effects of westward expansion on native cultures, the Trail of Tears also chronicles the story of immigration and slavery. A diverse country like America holds evidence of colliding cultures in its soil. Archaeological research is imperative if we hope to understand and preserve our unique origin story.
Part of the project that we're proposing, we're going to be doing archaeological investigations to try to figure out more about that early period of time. First, doing what we call ground penetrating radar to see if we can find anomalies under the soil. We'd also eventually like to do a shovel testing survey where we walk so many meters and we dig a hole. And if we find things, we flag it for further investigation if it warrants it, and then from there move on and keep going until the whole 1.7 acres is surveyed. And hopefully by the end of this project, we'll know a little bit more about what it means to live in Missouri Ozarks in the 1830s.